Corporal punishment is the deliberate infliction of pain. Deliberate. It's administered by parents, by teachers, by adults to a child.
Parenting is no doubt a tough job. Teaching your child discipline is only one of many responsibilities of being a parent. Jenny Lovell, as a mental health therapist, has worked with children and parents with various levels of problems. She is a staunch supporter of teaching children discipline, but not using physical punishment.
Let's talk about discipline and punishment. Discipline is for the child. I am teaching this child how to be a good citizen. So I want to use positive discipline where I actually am teaching the child techniques, different ways of impulse control. And I say impulse control, not screaming and breaking things. Punishment is for me, the parent. You did something that really enraged me, so I'm going to beat it out of you. I'm going to take it out of you. But what does the child learn? What does the child learn? The child, again, is just learning about aggressive behavior. He doesn't learn. Why do you need to beat the child to teach them a consequence? The whole idea is that I want to teach a child how to behave in the future so that I don't see the same behavior again.
In Belize, the UNICEF Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey, which collected data in 2010, showed that 70.5% of children aged 2 to 14 experience violent discipline, which includes physical punishment and/or psychological aggression.
But I want to talk about the more immediate problems. And so, first of all, when we simply beat children for everything that they do, what are we modeling for them? What are we demonstrating for the child? Well, I'm demonstrating for the child that we solve problems by using aggressive behavior. Because what that does is, you're talking about this child is really building up a lot of resentment and hatred, right? They go to school and they beat up on other kids. You are teaching the child that the only way to solve problem is to fight and to beat up on other kids. So you show me a kid that's beating up on somebody, and I can show you a kid who's being bullied at home.
In 2011, when Belize removed corporal punishment from the classrooms, the teachers were concerned that it would create a vacuum when it comes to discipline. The argument then is the same as it is now. Positive discipline is proven to be more effective than physical punishment.
I love to give the example. You have a class clown. Here's a child. Teachers get irritated because this child is disrupting her class. But if you stop to correct that child, you have just given that child your undivided attention, and all the other students in that classroom are focusing on this one child. Can you imagine? I don't get any attention at home. Here at school, I'm getting all the attention just by misbehaving or being a class clown. So I say to teachers, instead of screaming at that child, stopping your whole lesson plan, putting him outside where he's not learning anything at all, what you do instead is you wait for that child, let him act out, and you continue your lesson. He'll stop after a while. But the minute you catch that child sitting quietly for 2 seconds, make a big fuss about that. Reward the behavior you want to see more of. We do goal setting, but that forces a parent to think. It forces a teacher to have to think. And it's easier to just smack the child and say, quit cursing or do your chores, rather than work with them to learn something. And so I have to be creative as a parent for me to give the child different ways of learning how to do things.
And for those who are still not convinced about sparing the rod, Lovell has a special message for them too.
For years, when I was growing up, I used to hear, spare the rod, spoil the child. And as I grew up, I started looking and I thought, you know, I wonder if the shepherd really takes that rod and beats the sheep. He doesn't. That rod is used for guiding the sheep to safety. Well, that's an old thing that was handed down to us. We know that by beating children, we are turning out aggressive children. We know that we are turning out some very unhappy children. We know that we're losing our children. We know all this. And we might stand there with bravado and say, oh no, look at how I turned out. But honestly, if we are honest, we can look and see that we ourselves are not comfortable hitting our kids.